Today, we are going to dig into how I've generated, I think it's 41 or 42 now, real estate leads using Google pay-per-click, specifically baby boomers or potentially downsizing baby boomers, which plays off a topic that we've been talking about a little bit in the last couple months on these sessions and some of the other content that I have uploaded on the YouTube channel. However, the framework and the formula will work regardless of who your client avatar might be. So, for example, I know my guy Shay McGee is on here, and one of his ideal client avatars is investors. And so, this framework and formula could, would, will work wonderfully for that. If you are, or your ideal client avatar is someone looking to buy a new construction home, great opportunity. First time buyer, great opportunity. I'm hoping our guest will be on because he's going to walk through not only how to set this up, but he's got a campaign that he created years ago at this point, following the same formula that has generated thousands of leads or leads interested in waterfront condos. And he's hopping on. I knew he's got his calendar is very full with meetings. So he had it on. He was wrapping up the last one. He's going to be in here soon. So real quick, here's the roadmap for today. We're going to share the campaign, the results, the keywords that we're using with my campaign, the dynamic landing page that we're sending people to, the smart campaign, some of the things that we've done to optimize the campaign over the it's really only been live for 4 or 5 weeks. We'll dig into other ideas or niches that you might use with it. And then, of course, we'll open it up for any questions, brainstorming, masterminding, etc. If you are watching this live in the Facebook group, Wake Up Real Estate, do me a huge favor. And first of all, hit the like button. And by the way, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel after the fact, do that as well. If you have a question, whether live or after the fact, if you drop a comment, I personally reply to all of your comments. And if you do it live, we'll do our best to address it here live as well. This is a wonderful follow-up to what I would describe as part 2 of last week's mastermind session. So last week on the mastermind, we talked about what I believe is the best way to convert your leads, your database, into clients over time by starting more conversations. And it's the deal of the week system. We ran out of time on the mastermind. So what I did was Thursday is I recorded myself as I did the work of my deal of the week system in my local business. And so that is on the YouTube channel as well. And why I am highlighting that is it is my belief that if you're more confident and competent about how you can convert more leads, you're going to be more willing and able to invest time and money to generate more leads. And that system, all of you can deploy in your own unique way. It won't look exactly the same for all of you, but the pieces and the framework is something that you can R&D in your business, regardless of where you're at with that. While we are waiting, oh, there he is. While I bring Ryan on here, one last thing I'll mention is if you're not already part of the free school community, Leads, Listings, and Leverage, we put the replays in there, and we also make it as easy as possible to get additional resources that are provided in there as well. I'm going to make Ryan the co-host. And so I'm going to mention this several times. We will probably get into the weeds, into the nitty gritty a little bit today. And if that makes your head hurt, if you get lost in some of that, know that we have an easy button for you as well. His name, by the way, is Mike, and I'll put his info in the chat. But that will be your easy button. But we're going to do our best to share everything so that for those of you that are more DIY oriented, you might be able to do it yourself. There he is, Ryan. Hello, sir.
What's up? Sorry I was late.
No, all good, all good. Let me enable screen sharing, and I try to do my best to tee this up. But let me do one more. So for those of you who don't know who Ryan is, I have known Ryan since 2008 or 9. We're local central Pennsylvanians. Although he migrated to Florida for a number of years, he's back full time now in central Pennsylvania, in York area. Ryan he's done everything that you can imagine under the sun in real estate, especially when it comes to lead generation and conversion. He is now, I forget his title at IRE, but
Yeah.
what's that? VP of
VP
Growth.
of
There you
growth.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And KB Core and Bold Trail are two of the products under the IRE umbrella inside real estate, if you're not familiar with that. Ryan built out the campaign that we're going to share with you today. It's a framework and a style of campaign that, I don't know, Ryan, you've been using for several years now. I know that we did a little two-part session, I think fall of 2023.
Yeah, we did that. And we also talked about this last August too. So some people might remember this funnel, but we've learned some things since then.
And we're going to highlight the results that I've gotten in the last 30 days or so, which are encouraging. And I think you can R&D for yourself. But also, if you're wondering, does this work long term? Ryan, how many leads has the waterfront condo Google pay-per-click ad generated? Just roughly.
I can't remember. It's like something like in the 3,000 range.
That's what I thought. I was going to say 3,200, 3,300.
Yeah.
And for those of you who know me at all, you know that I love using Facebook and Instagram for lead generation. It's quick, it's easy. You can in short order, in a matter of hours in some cases, be generating leads. The problem with that platform is there's a point of diminishing returns. In other words, you have to refresh your campaigns routinely. You got to change the copy and the images, and you got to be promoting different properties. Like, it's much more, there's a lot more ongoing work, right? You can't just set it and forget it. The nice thing about Google pay-per-click and the campaign style that we're going to show you here, once you get it working here, you can set it and forget it. And in many cases, the results actually get better over time. So I went live yesterday morning real quick because I had gotten an update from Google, an email from my Google Ads rep or whatever. I think it's just an automated email. And my cost per lead over the last 7 days was drastically lower than the lifetime of the campaign, which again, it's only 30 days, but it's an indicator that results can improve and therefore your cost per lead go down over time. Ryan, do you want to drive? Do you want me to drive? How do you want to do this? And is that comment, is that?
I have some art in my background that offended somebody.
Geez, okay. Ryan blurred it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I don't have time for the easily offended. All right, let's go. You want me to share?
Yeah, if you don't mind. And then I'll talk through and walk through. So what we're going to do, once again, the roadmap here is we'll give you an idea of what this looks like. We'll show you the keywords. I'll show the negative keywords. That's one of the optimization practices or optimization best practices over time so that you're not getting the wrong people, quote unquote, clicking. In other words, renters or people that just aren't interested in the offer that you're making. We're going to show the dynamic landing page, which Ryan has already brought up there. And then time permitting, we'll show the smart campaign and some of that as well. And I do want to highlight, there's one text template or text script in particular in my smart campaign that's getting a above average amount of replies. And so I want to share that, make sure that we highlight that as well, because that is getting me, now that this campaign is becoming a little aged, I'm almost getting one person a day or every other day replying to that one text message, and it's just happening automatically.
Are you running Facebook alongside this with this offer too? Okay, no, yeah, I was just curious. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so let's share with everybody the numbers, right? Let's start there.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's look, it's this Josh Downsizing 25 campaign. I'll do my best to make this big. I know it's probably small on the screen, Josh.
But that's okay. We get the idea.
Yeah. It'll be down toward the bottom here. You haven't spent a ton. We're at $12 a day, right? I think we've been running it for 3 weeks.
It's at least 4 now, I think, or it's close to a month, or maybe slightly.
The time's been a blur
like
for me.
Yeah.
But we're at about 16 leads. And a lead in this case is just somebody opting in through the landing page. Conversion rate, 8% on the page. I thought that was higher to start, so we'll have to look at what's going on there. I like to get that around 10, but 8's fine with Google clicks.
When I was looking this morning, it said 10. That's weird.
Yeah, maybe you were looking at the last month or something like this. Let's see.
Oh, that could have been it.
Yeah, you were looking at the last month, but the lifetime of this campaign. And now that I think about it, I'm just going to do the all-time. But anyway, the all-time could be, I'm on a different view, 10%, cost per conversion, $8.97. Josh, did we You know what we did? We must have done this earlier and turned it back on and added an ad to the ad set. That's why the numbers are blended. So the all-time on this campaign is
Oh, yes.
897 per conversion. But if we do just the time period we know about, I'll just do the last 30 days. Yeah, we're still at 880 a conversion.
Yeah. And that's where
So
the conversion rate you can see is at over 10%, which just for context, I've seen that the average in real estate specifically, the average website conversion, quote unquote, you'll see some that say a half to 2%. Some will say 2 to 5%. But in our opinion and experience of doing this literally for years and years, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but like I've been running online ads for my real estate business since Facebook allowed you to do the right column ads, which was back in 2007 or 8. Anything north of 10% is
yeah,
like winning. You're winning there.
yep. So yeah, this is the last month, 38 conversions. Does that sound right?
I think it's missing a couple.
All right.
But if I go in KB Core, it's more like 41 or 42.
We're getting a click for about 92 cents, call it $1. Let's show the actual ad. We'll show just because it's leading us here, but you can see the actual keywords that we're running for.
Yep.
Now we went back and added a nice handful. But Josh, remember when we started, I said, let's do, I'm going to make this a little.
You started with what I would say like the
short tail,
the low hanging fruit. So the phrases that we knew would get the most traffic, which is Harrisburg, PA homes, for example, like that was where it started. And it holds true still. That one has gotten the most clicks.
Yeah. So just, I want to highlight this because it definitely makes sense to go deeper as you did after a few weeks, Josh.
Yep.
But to start, you don't need to get too complicated. You can basically do the main area you're in and then homes. And we're running it broad keyword wise. And you can see the click-through rates over in this column are high. And
Brian, from your experience, what is good and then what's like really good when it comes to click-through rates?
I'm happy if something's over 5%. A click-through rate, guys, means that somebody saw the ad on Google, like they Googled it and then they saw your ad running and they clicked it. So there was an impression and then they click through. So anything north of 10% is just gangbusters. Really anything off of north of 5 is happy joy. And the reason we're getting such a high click-through rate, I'm going to show the ads now, Josh.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to come back to this page to show the dynamic page, right?
Yep.
But the reason I believe the click-through rates are so high is that we're showing these ads to somebody who Googles Harrisburg, PA homes. And I'm going to run this Google search. And typically what you're going to see there is all the usual suspects, the big boxes, right? The realtor and the Zillows, the portal. And occasionally, and it just cracks me up, Josh, like none of your competitors are showing here.
Right.
Like you don't see any solo team leaders or agents doing this right now. So that just highlights an opportunity because your competition isn't here. Yep. But everybody's headline is almost exactly the same, isn't it?
It's generic.
Yeah. So when you come and our ad isn't showing, which is good, we don't want to pay for our own click here. Our ad says downsizer friendly homes. So we're calling out a specific niche buyer.
Yep.
Master bedroom on main floor. See the full list now. And I feel like repetitive, Josh, because we've done this webinar 5 or 6 times over the years. This formula that I've been talking about since us together for 10 years still works. It's the thing that it is, downsizer friendly homes, the niche call out, a little bit of a description, master bedroom on main floor, and then the call to action is always see the full list now.
Can we pause there for 1 second? So let's come up with, right off the cuff, you and I, let's come up with 3 or 4 more. So the first one that popped up for me, because I'm thinking about my guy, Shay and I are doing a little session tomorrow talking about the investor client avatar. And so for Shay, it could be investor friendly homes, and then the pipe break, fixer uppers and foreclosures, something along those lines.
Fixers, income properties, etc., whatever.
Yep. See the full list now. It could be new construction homes, condos, townhomes, and single family. See the full list now.
And usually that second line, I rotate a few variations, but you can say built after to stuff like that. That second line. But same formula. Don't forget starter homes. That works really well.
Yep. Starter homes or first time buyer friendly homes or something along that. Gets a little bit long, but you get the idea. This formula, it really is just a matter of figuring out who's my ideal client avatar, what would they be most interested in when it comes to this, and crafting just following that. Will you nail it right out of the gate? Probably not. But if you commit to that client avatar and you start somewhere, and you tweak it and improve it over time, it'll only get better. And if you want some help with strategizing around that, you can just reach out to me, call, text, email, whatever. I'd be happy to chat with you to strategize on what that might look like.
So let's talk about what the user experience is. They come to Google Harrisburg, PA homes. They see all these, they trust Google Zillow, maybe they click through there, blah, blah, blah. But then they see this kind of like pattern interrupt, right? It sticks out like a sore thumb, downsizer friendly homes. Now, if they're not a downsizer, they're probably not going to click it. But if they happen to be older and thinking about downsizing, they're going to click it out of curiosity. And this is the reason why when they get to the landing page, they have intent around this idea. So the momentum is carried through the landing page. And if you keep that momentum going, you're going to get a high conversion rate.
It's congruent. The more congruent you make each step of the process, the more likely you are to get into a conversation with these clients. So if what they see after the click matches what they saw before the click, they're more likely to opt in. If what they see after they submit their information is what was promised, they're more likely to trust you and to open your emails, to read your text messages, and to even respond to your deal of the week, which I sent one out this morning for my downsizer portion of my list, and I already have a hot lead from my deal of the week by email.
Yep. So what we're going for here is specificity. We're not just getting a generic Harrisburg, PA homes click and competing with Zillow for that traffic. We're getting a specific person who expects to see a downsizer friendly homes list. And now we're going to come over to the landing page, right, Josh?
Yep. Hey, Ryan, you may have this as some of the variations, but one of the things that's not showing in that example ad is, because I've seen you do this a lot and it tends to work, is specificity with numbers where you can.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So priced from X to Y.
I was being lazy.
No, and so part of the dilemma with that is those numbers, when you put in specific prices, what those numbers are today could be different tomorrow because the inventory is dynamic.
I almost always do it though, Josh. So I'm glad you bring it up. See how I have this thumbtack number 2? This is how you pin it to the second spot. So I usually put that in the second spot along with variations on the description.
Yeah. And the price from the low 250Ks, that is something that you're putting a specific number, which will grab their attention, right, when they see specific numbers, but it's not putting like an exact price where it might not be relevant. And that's something that over time, if the average price or the starting price changes, you can just go in and change that real easily.
Now I got to save this. Sorry. By the way, notice the ad strength poor, Josh. I like highlighting this too. Don't listen to Google.
So I said that this morning. I did a little live session this morning teasing to get people on. And that was one of the things that I highlighted, that according to Google, this is a terrible ad. But in reality, this is like, to get Google pay-per-click opt-ins for under $10 is it's phenomenal.
We're not just getting an opt-in. Let's continue with the landing page. Sorry to cut you off, but now you're getting me excited. What's going on with the page here? Let's look. And let's actually click through from a specific keyword so we can hammer that.
That'll show the dynamic functionality of it, or?
Yeah, so we're going to go back to the keywords. There's a bit going on here, guys, so sorry to jump around, but we just want to make sure you get the full picture.
By the way, I did drop the quote-unquote easy button in the chat here. I'll do that in the Facebook group as well. If this is something that you want help with, you can hit up Mike, or if you want to strategize first before chatting with Mike, you can schedule a time to chat with me, or just call or text me, or shoot me a DM. I'm easy to find on any platform you can imagine.
You'll notice here where it says final URL. What we've done is we've gone ahead and separated out each keyword and given it its own URL. So there's a little geekery here, but what this allows us to do is if somebody's searching Mechanicsburg area homes, and that's the keyword they searched into Google, the landing page they show up on will echo back into the page Mechanicsburg area home. So that's called, with Google, that's called dynamic keyword insertion. And we're just doing it at the keyword level via a parameter in the URL.
Which again ties into that idea of keeping things as congruent as possible. Because if someone clicked on an ad about Mechanicsburg area and it said Harrisburg area, that throws them off the scent. They're like, this doesn't match up, and I'm gone. They'll be right out of there.
So I do. And then the key thing here is we ask an initial question. So this is an engagement element. Josh, I'm using Joy Pixels to put the hands in there. It's a new thing I started doing.
Yeah, I love it.
Pointing down. I'm looking, and then they're answering a quick question. I'm looking to downsize for my current, and then I am saying Harrisburg, PA, because that's the broader area.
Yep.
there. I'm looking to move here from another area, and neither. I'm just curious about this property list. Now, Josh, I haven't looked at these leads come in, but what percentage would you say on each of these are you?
I would say it's almost split evenly.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
have to look at it closely, but just anecdotally, I think it's about a third on each of them.
yeah. But this is a good question, because if they say I'm looking to downsize from my current Harrisburg area home, what does that tell you? That's a
Yeah,
listing
they have a
opportunity.
home. Right. Yeah, they have a home to sell first.
Yeah, I'm looking to move here from another area. Also gives you some context. They're
Yep.
probably going to take a little longer to convert, right? And it sets the stage for what kind of info you're going to send them. They need more education about your area, probably. And the
Which, by the
neither,
way, hold on. I want to.
yeah,
So don't let that be a limiting belief. It might not take longer to convert. They might be looking because family, there might be some urgency with family. They want to get there as soon as possible. It could be job related, even though we're talking to an older demographic theoretically. It could be. So don't assume that if someone, says something like that, that it won't or that it couldn't be a right now opportunity.
we get the answer to this question. And then what happens is this kind of slippery slope or commitment and consistency, Cialdini stuff, where they take that first little action. They've actually taken a few actions. They've searched on Google, they've seen your ad, they've clicked on that. They're like chasing this cheese or this carrot and stick. And then they're like, oh, they click this. And now the part where we want their contact info, they're committed to the process. It's like, all right, the momentum's there. Yeah, let's see this darn list. Here's my name. All right, take my darn email. This is what's going through our heads. Like, you just do it real quick. And then we hit them with the phone optional. I'm a huge fan of optional phone numbers because I want a real number. I don't want a fake phone number. If you want us to text you our downsize or real estate deal of the week every Wednesday. Josh, what's been the phone number take on that? I mean,
it's definitely north of 50%. And notice once again, the deal of the week system comes into play there. If you get nothing else from this, is a wonderful way to optionally collect phone number on whatever you might be doing, because Ryan's been using it for years because it just works.
Yeah, just phone optional. Even the KV Core landing pages and Bold Trail have this built in where you can make it optional. And if you're frustrated, if you're tired of calling fake phone numbers, this is the way to eliminate those.
Yep.
And we did the see list now. And this is just, I can't even remember, Josh, just takes them straight to the list. I think right now we don't even have a bridge.
Yeah, so it's just a KV Core IDX squeeze where the registration is turned off.
And then I'll share one of my favorite tricks. It still works. It's a little sneaky, but this element underneath the submit button is a social proof element. So what we're saying psychologically, this is also, if you haven't read Cialdini's book, The Persuasion and Influence or whatever that's called, that's a really good one for some of the science behind this. And share, and then 1.5K people like this. I can't even remember what Facebook page I used, but you can go.
I was going to ask. I don't know if it's the Josh Shanley EXP one or the 717, or it's just some random. It might just be Propertunity.
It's the Propertunity Knox page that I've had forever. But basically, you can go and you can build a little iframe script. You just Google like Facebook like button, and I have that there. But the reason it's there is so that people trust the process a little more and are more likely to give you their info. You could also just have a picture of a person saying, oh, this list was great and very useful, like a testimonial, something like that. So
you could even maybe do Google reviews or something. If there's a Google review that was relevant for that you helped somebody downsize or something like that. You just want some sort of proof element that like other people have done this kind of thing.
Yep.
Or other people like this.
So that's our survey flowy landing page format. And it works good. It's worked for a long time. So if you're thinking about running Google traffic, think about doing something like this. Could work fine with just going for the name in the email, but we like this extra question. And the extra question does allow you to do some fun stuff with automation if you're a little more technical and advanced, because you can sort and filter based on how they answered.
So, I want to throw this out for those of you who are GHL users, or it might be the Pro Edge CRM or Smarty CRM, which, by the way, if you're not and you want to check that out, just let me know. I can get you the link for that and a discount code. But you can build, in fact, I built one this morning for something I'm testing. You can build conditional logic like what Ryan showed in their form generator. If that would be helpful for me to show you how to do that, I'd be happy to record me doing that. But so my point is, we can help if you want some help implementing this. You can use the easy button, Mike, etc. But if you're familiar at all or you're using a Go High Level, you can make, it might be tedious for you to make a page for every area that you're running these for, but like you do it once and it's done and you can build the conditional logic in there. I guess the short answer to the longer point is there's multiple ways that you can figure this out and implement this. It's a matter of what do I have access to and what can I leverage? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day. A guy was using AI to make the forms in Go High Level. So there's some custom script you might want to use. I don't
Okay.
know the exact video, but just know you can pretty much emulate what I have here in Go High Level.
You can almost identically do it. I did it this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm not
So
techie. Like, I know that seems odd, but in comparison to Ryan, I am not techie.
yeah, and you can even pull the parameters in.
There you go.
Yeah,
That
that's a
part I
Go High
didn't
Level
know.
feature. I think Mike's familiar with some of that as well. And I'm even Go High Level's gotten so good. I'm building on a WordPress stack with formidable forms, but I'm starting to scratch my head and wonder why I'm bothering. Just go get the darn High Level
It
account.
does need to load fast, right? Like, you got to make
Yeah,
sure that it loads fast because you will lose visitors if it doesn't load quickly enough.
yeah. Okay, so that's the funnel, Josh. You talked about maybe showing what happens on the back end after we do this, but
A couple more things before we do that, I think would be so for the first week or so, it was like week to 10 days. There were just essentially, I think there was like five. Would that be broad match or was it phrase match?
yeah, I think I had them as broad to start. Google, the algorithm is ignoring those match types, in my opinion, anyway. It used to. Yeah.
So we started with just a few, and I noticed pretty quickly that some of the phrases that were getting traffic were things like rental homes in Harrisburg or low income housing in Harrisburg, things of that nature. So as that was happening, I was adding negative keywords so that if people search, for example, like another one was landlords in Harrisburg. So all of those key negative keywords I added so we're not getting traffic that, again, there's nothing against those people. It's just they're not a good fit for what we're offering. So that would be one way that you optimize over time and you prune things down, which will improve your click-through rate. It'll improve your conversion rate, etc. And so, like, that's how you can improve results over time. That would be one thing. The second thing, before we get into the smart campaign, is that we started with a few, and once I saw that it was working, which I knew it would, we have an overwhelming amount of evidence that this formula works and this process works. It was just a matter of getting some initial data and feeding the system a little bit. That's when I added a whole lot more phrases or keywords and dynamically inserting the landing page to match those. So I didn't mention this at the beginning. Most of you know this, but I've got a local real estate team in central PA, and we cover a pretty broad area, but we're very rural. We don't have densely populated areas. So if you're in a densely populated area, one city might get you all the traffic and lead flow that you want, right? It very well could just be that's enough for you, but you can start small and scale it up from there. And I'll emphasize something I said at the beginning. Already, we're seeing the cost per lead driven down. The cost per lead the last week was under $6 per lead. Now, that could be also
Seasonal.
yes, time of year. It's finally starting to warm up a little bit, although last week it was still pretty cold. You will see ebbs and flows with that. So that's something to keep in mind with this or any paid lead generation. It can be seasonal. How much are you investing on a monthly basis to get these kinds of results? So, Aaron, it is currently set to $12 per day. Ryan, what would you say would be the minimum if someone's going to do something like this?
Yeah, maybe $8 a day. I like to set it to where I think I'm going to get a lead a day, just
Yeah.
for the algorithm's sake. So $8 to $12 a day. But you could set it to 5, and you'll still get that. They'll figure it out. They'll send you a lead every few days.
And you can turn it on and off. It doesn't have to be something that's running all the time, though I would say once you get it set up and it's working, it's probably worth doing that.
Comparing this to Zillow, where some of those territories are just insane, that the cost to get leads from Zillow in an area, the intent around these leads should be similar. When I say intent, the quality, because they're actively searching.
Yeah.
It's not as good as somebody inquiring about a specific property because they need that property right away off of Zillow, but it's close. Yeah.
But just in general, the intent of people on Google versus on Facebook and Instagram is it's billboard advertising versus I don't even know what to compare it to, but it's interruption versus intent, right? So you're interrupting people on Facebook and Instagram. And again, I've done it and I recommend it and I have campaigns running right now. It can work. This is intent based. They're going somewhere and looking for a solution. So naturally, they are farther along in the process or farther down the funnel or through the pipeline. as far as this goes. Aaron asks, what kind of conversion rate are you seeing on the leads? It's too early for me to quote. What I can tell you is I've had conversations either by email, text, or phone with almost half of them. And I'm saying almost half only because I should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't actually add it up. But what I'll do now is, Ryan, I'm going to grab the
grab the screen. Yep.
and I'm going to show the smart campaign, and then I'll even show maybe the leads a little bit. And the only reason why I say maybe is YouTube tends to flag it if I show
contact info,
too much personal data or
I got a video kicked off of YouTube.
Isabel, I've been getting a few of my old ones kicked off for that. Isabel asked, I think, again, something around budget, $8 to $12 a day, 300 to 400 bucks a month.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, please.
Because I've worked with a number of agents on funnels like this. You got to be ready to spend that $12 a day for a year before you go into it. Whatever it is, $360 a month times 12, it's $4,000 to really. That should be the mindset, because you are going to generate a few transactions and you'll get the ROI, but it's not going to happen in 30 days.
And so here's how, let's turn it into math. If you think about the worst case scenario, so 100 leads, and let's say in your market, that will cost you $1,000. Out of 100, if you can't convert 1 out of 100 over a 3 to 6 month window, there are other things that you should invest into skill wise, or something else is going on there, because that's worst case scenario. These are intent based potential clients. So if you're not hitting that benchmark of at least 1 out of 100, there's other things that you probably need to address. But let's say it is worst case scenario, 1 out of 100. For most of you, that's going to be at least a 6 to 1, a 10 to 1, a 20 to 1, a 30 to 1 return on investment. It'll depend on how much your average price is and what you're able to negotiate as a buyer.
100 times $10 a lead is $1,000 to get 100 leads.
Yeah.
Can you convert 1 or 2? Put in a referral.
That's another great perspective or way to look at it.
It might be my fault too.
No, I think it's just me. Just want to make sure, even though it says an older one, let's take a look at the scripts here. So as promised, here's the list you asked for. Okay. Here's the list of homes you asked for. These voicemails are not going because I don't have the ringless voicemail service with KB Core right now. For me, I didn't get a lot of activity from that, so I've stopped.
You ever listen to your voicemails? I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the one benefit is I do think more people are reading their voicemails now that voicemails are transcribed. But the benefit to me in that is if you're saying the person's name and they see their name, because then it's, oh, this was an actual call. You can't do that with a ringless voicemail. Anyway, it's Josh with EXP. Thanks for stopping by our page. We just emailed you the link of homes that you requested. Did you get it? So asking a question. And by the way, for anybody that wants this or anybody that's using Mike as the easy button, we'll give you the smart campaign. There's a share code for it, or you might have to rebuild it in whatever you're using. Like you can have any and all of this. That's how we roll. I just want to make sure you got the list. I'm here to help answer questions. When do you have a couple of minutes to chat so we can set you up with custom direct MLS access? I haven't got many replies to that, quite honestly. Was just wondering if any caught your eye. That's another email. I forgot to ask, are you currently renting or do you own? Not sure how soon you're looking to make a move. So this is the one. This is the one that has gotten higher than average reply rate. I've gotten a lot of replies to this email or this text message, which I also can say very emphatically works great as a PS in emails, whether it's your deal of the week email or whatever. But this offer, and you can position it lots of different ways, will get you responses. Not sure how soon you're looking to make a move. Or another way you could say that is, I'm sure you're not ready to move right now, but would you like me to send over a list of all the recently price reduced low maintenance homes available right now? It could be a great way to find a deal. That one, I'm getting a reply probably every other day. And Fernando, I'll get to your question in a minute. I just want to share these last couple. Am I sending you the right properties to look at? If you'd like to change anything we're sending, let us know. And then just following up to make sure I didn't drop the ball. Are you still looking to buy a low maintenance home? Are you receiving the listing alerts? And then beyond that, it's the deal of the week, which I send out on Wednesdays as promised on the landing page. Like every Wednesday. What's
Yeah,
that?
it was a text offer, but do you email that too?
I email and text it, and I'll share my screen again. I'll show this morning's exactly what it looked like, because
Uh,
I don't just say this stuff, I do this stuff.
and question, do you have the Facebook retargeting set up yet for this?
I'm capturing them and I'm posting on Facebook.
We got to get you the next step. This is a further refinement would be to make sure your
Yeah.
pixels on the landing page so that we're
Yeah.
showing a Facebook ad with the same offer so they come back through the funnel.
That's a good point. We'll have to look at that after this.
Yeah.
Fernando.
Have you experimented with video in those campaigns? In other words, a text video because I subscribed to the add-on in KV Core, and I was just wondering if you've got any results or any feedback on it.
I'm not subscribed to that currently. I love video. Okay. How I have found it best is in replying to the reply. To get the most amount of replies, you should use text only. So this is in my opinion and my experience. To get the highest reply rate or conversation rate possible, your text and emails should be just text in both of them. And then once they reply, that is a wonderful open door to respond with a personal video message. Now, some of you may have video in your automated, and if it's working, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying I've tried it. For me, what works, the thing that has been most useful for me when it comes to personal video messages or video messaging in general, it's once a conversation has been opened, once there's been a response of some kind.
Yeah, I wonder about the HTML that's involved with the video too going out.
Yeah.
Just in terms of deliverability, it's like a little heavy and then SMS is getting a little tougher all around. Just the content of the messages, they're blocking some stuff.
Yep, I'm going to show this real quick because I don't want to.
To your point, once they're talking to you, then you can send a video. It's going to inbox because they're already talking to you.
Yeah. Again, I'm trying to be very careful here because I don't want to get this flagged, because I know there's lots of good stuff in here. So what I'm going to do is I'll find a text, but first, when I'm doing my deal of the week, I send the email first, and this is literally exactly what I showed last week. But I'm showing you a real-time example, what I sent today. This is literally what I sent today. Subject, Central PA, in parentheses, master on main deal of the week, okay? The content, the body of the email. Here's our Central PA, quote unquote, master on main deal of the week. It's a brand new end unit townhome with a primary suite on the main floor in the Mechanicsburg borough. 2,000 plus square feet, oversized 2-car garage, rear load, oversized 2-car rear load. I should have said rear loading. See, you can screw all of this up and still get results, because I already have a hot lead from this. Walking trails, pocket parks. I don't know what a pocket park is, but that's what they describe it as. I think it means just like a little mini park. And community clubhouse, very conveniently located. And again, another grammatical error. If anything is proof, is you don't have to be perfect for this stuff to work, because I got 3 grammatical errors in this one email. And like I said, I already have what I would say is a warm client who's very interested in this property that I have to follow up with a personal video message, which is what I'm going to do, Fernando. She replied right before we went live, so I didn't have time, but that's going to be how I respond to her. I'm going to give her the details, but it's going to be in part me talking about the property with a video message and the link to the information that she was looking for. And then the PS. So she was interested in this property, and this caught her eye. In fact, she replied 2 different times. She said, yeah, I want info on this property, and I think I want to check it out later this week. And then she replied again to the email and said, I want to see that full list that you were talking about as well. And then the text. So I'm breaking my own rule that I just said with Fernando with my text message that I'm sending for the deal of the week. I'm sending text only, but in KV Core, if you click to include listing info, KV Core, Bold Trail, and I'm guessing other platforms do this similarly as well, it'll include a picture of the property, an image of the property. So when I send the deal of the week, I do include the image through that platform. And I've tested both of those, and it seems like my texts are still getting delivered, because that's my fear. Is the text being delivered? Is it actually making it to their text inbox? And more people are replying, because that visual, it's one image, and that visual creates some additional curiosity. I'm going to pull up a text and stop my share so I can show you what that looks like. But again, I don't want to show too much info and get this flagged. While I'm doing that, Aaron, you've had your hand up.
Hi, just a quick question. As far as the Google campaigns and the budget that's allotted toward them, is it just a general budget and then it gets spread across the various campaigns, or do you have to assign each budget to each campaign that you're launching, like you have to do on Facebook? What's in Google? Do you understand my question?
Ryan, I was leaving space for Ryan to answer because he's
Oh, yeah, I think you set the budget at the campaign level, don't you? Can't
right.
remember. 'Cause I always just run it.
So you choose it at the campaign level. I think that's
Okay.
the easy,
You can
fast
do it by
answer.
the day, or you can do a total lifetime budget too, I believe. We should reference that earlier webinar we did for the walkthrough of how step by step, and that'll
Yeah, so there are actually several. So with the replay of this, whether you watch this on YouTube or you watch it in the Facebook group or you check it out in the school community, I will find there are at least 3 or 4 other videos we've done the past couple years that will be, for those of you that want to do a deep dive on this, that I think will be helpful and useful. So Aaron, let me make this very tangible. You would set the budget for a campaign like this, and let's say you also want to do retargeting with Google display ads, which is a whole other topic for another day. That would be separate, and you could set that at $1 a day or $2 a day or $3 a day, whatever. And then maybe you have a campaign that is, so the Google Ads dashboard is where you can run YouTube ads as well. And so you might have a campaign where you're running a YouTube ad. That campaign budget would be on its own as well. It would be like, each of those are separate and standalone. I could have just said, it's like Facebook, right? You set a campaign budget and that's what it'll spend. Now, it fluctuates a little, right? Today it might at $12. Today it might spend $11.98. Tomorrow it might be $10.50. And then the next day it might be $13.20. But I think Google will tell you they'll average it out over a week, I think, or maybe it's a month. So just so that people don't freak out if there's like slight fluctuations as they're doing it. Here's the text I sent with my deal of the week this morning. Morning, Corinne. Here's our Central PA Master on Main deal of the week. It's a brand new N-unit townhome in Mechanicsburg. Thankfully, not a whole lot of grammatical errors in here, at least. Which, by the way, I didn't do. Here's why I had the grammatical errors, because I didn't follow my own advice. Last week, I mentioned on one of the things that I published that read your emails out loud before you hit send, because you'll find the errors. I didn't do it because I was in a hurry this morning, and shame on me. Anyway, lesson learned. Let me know if you'd like to check out the floor plan, community info, etc. Thanks. And then this is just an image. Now, this image isn't even great because it's a rendering, but it's the only one. I don't have control over what image is being pulled in because it's someone else's listing. But still, it still worked. And there's something to having that as a little extra teaser or open a little bit more curiosity.
So Josh, to get that to populate, you just click that little box that's below on the bottom of the text, so it grabs the listing.
So there's a field, for whatever reason, for me, I have had to put to get the property, I've had to put the MLS listing. Like, for whatever reason, when I'm typing the address, it doesn't come up. But if I paste into the field where it's asking for which MLS listing, if I paste in the MLS ID number or the MLS number, you just paste it. It's like PAC and then a bunch of letters or numbers rather. So I paste that in there and then I can select it. And then, yes, I hit the checkbox, send listing. I forget what it says, but send MLS listing or send link. But it doesn't actually send the link. It just sends an image.
And so you actually put the MLS number of the property in the bottom.
You have to. Otherwise, there won't be anything to pull to send. So I'll try to do this in a way that doesn't show this contact here. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm going to stop my share again, and I'll pull it up to the point where we don't see the person. And if anybody else has questions while I'm messing with this, fire away. Why can't I find contact info?
Is this the day you do just new construction?
No. So this is my Master on Main day. New construction is Thursdays. Why can't I choose? Oh, wait, actions. Okay. Send text. Okay. Hold on here. Share. Thanks for being patient, everybody. So what he's talking about is, now I got to get this box out of the way. Oh, and it's not showing it here. Why is it not showing it in this one, Ryan? Wait a minute. Let me try this. If I select and text, there it is. I don't know why. But you put in the MLS ID, and that's probably why it's not taking the address, because it specifically says put in the MLS ID. But it used to work if you would search the address. But I've had to paste in the MLS ID and then check this, also send listing link. But what happens is it doesn't actually send the link. It just has a picture.
That's how you get the picture that populates, putting
Yes.
okay, I've seen that. I've never done it.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
good news. Good information.
And now, I only do that if I'm sending like a specific property, like whether it's deal of the week, or here's another great trick with this. This isn't related to Google pay-per-click or anything, but if you see people looking at properties and maybe they've favorited a property, you can text them and say, hey, I thought this property might be of interest to you or something like that. And you put that in there, and then they're like, I've been looking at that property all week. Can we check it out this weekend? That's a little tip or tactic that you could use if you're blocking off time each morning to be in your KV Core or whatever you're using to follow up and uncover opportunities. Let me just make sure. How do you test photo? Got that. Let's do Google YouTube ads soon. Richard. So for me to do that, I either need somebody who's an expert or I got to be the guinea pig, because I don't like coming on and sharing, this is what I think you should do. However, I have something that I want to test as a YouTube ad. So here's what I'm committing publicly to do, because I know that when I make these public commitments that I'm more likely to do it. I will be a guinea pig, and then in approximately 4 to 6 weeks, I'll share, good, bad, or ugly, what the results are from that test. I've run YouTube ads in the past, and I've gotten them to work in the past, but it's been quite a while since I was doing that. But I will do that, and then I'll share, and we can talk about how you can do the same. Here's what I'll actually do. I have an idea I want to test, and I'm going to test doing what we're already doing, and we shared today, but with a YouTube video pointing to the same dynamic lander, and we'll see what comes of it. Ryan, anything that we missed or that people should know? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paste again for those of you that are interested and would like Mike's help with this, which, by the way,
when you keep saying you want Mike's help, he's going to have to bother me to get this set up.
maybe
So
not.
we're gonna
If they have go high level, maybe
yeah,
not.
Mike can build it. I'm joking
Yeah.
around. If you
But
want
you can
Mike
get
and
Mike's-
Ryan's help,
Yeah, there you go.
reach
So,
out.
but Mike can help and support you with a lot more than just what we
Yeah,
talked about
he can.
today. So he's a great resource. If this kind of stuff is overwhelming to you, or you're getting bogged down, or you've got an idea that you just need help getting across the finish line or the goal line, Mike can help with that. If you would like to chat about strategy before getting Mike's help, I would love to. And you can go to josh15.com, or just, like I said, call or text me. My direct cell phone is 717-571-0456. Or like I said, I'm on every social platform. You can shoot me DM or whatever. I'm not hard to find.
I just have a question. Who's running Google right
Oh,
now?
yeah, that's a great question. Is anyone on here running Google pay-per-click?
It's strange to me. It feels like the channel has been abandoned and there's just lots of opportunity.
Now I'm running Google LSA and I'm actually getting some pretty good. I had a problem with getting delisted because my office was technically 50 miles away from my house and it was a whole thing. But before I got delisted and I got it all fixed up on Monday, and since I put it back together, I've got a lead from that. So I'm liking Google LSA. I don't put a whole lot of money into it, but just like you were saying, $5-10 a day, and it comes through, and there's extra leads that I can follow up with, keeping me busy.
Yeah, love it. Google LSA can be great. I have not been able. I've gotten clients from Google LSA. I have tried for, it's now several years. I have an approved budget. It shows active. It's not working. So I have given up and putting energy and effort elsewhere. But that can be a great source of, I would say, bottom or more bottom of funnel leads. Generally speaking, Google LSA, like 1 out of 5, if you answer your phone and you follow up and follow through, will likely turn into a client. At least that's been my experience.
Shay, when you're using the map, are you just using the county you're in, or the counties that are around you?
I'm pretty widespread. You might not be, I don't know where you're based, but
I'm in Texas.
Salt Lake. What's that?
I'm in Texas.
Okay. So we'll keep it relative. There's 3 counties close together that I work in, so I do it over a 3-county area.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for sharing that, Shay. That's helpful. Aaron has a basic ad running. Well, Aaron, hopefully this inspires you or gives you some direction on how you might tweak that in a way that will get you more from the ad spend. Larry asks, the landing page you used, is that your domain or from KV Core? So that was something, that's a WordPress site that Ryan built. You can replicate something like that with Go High Level, or for money of some monetary exchange of some kind. Maybe you can get something like that built or even set something up to mimic that. But Go High Level can do it, including
Yeah.
the conditional forms.
Yeah, I can do it. I don't
Yeah.
know if you were answering the landing page. That's WordPress versus
Yeah.
KV. I was zoning out there, but
Yep.
I wouldn't at this point. I don't know that I would try too hard to do it on WordPress with that stack. It's getting a little outdated unless you're really good with that stack already.
Yeah. So if you want help with that, just get with Mike and I'll help you with the strategy. Mike can help with the implementation and we'll get you pointed to how you can set that up for yourself. And that does give you a little bit more direct control as well.
Do you have Smarty's thing?
Yeah. I built a conditional form in his this morning.
I don't know. Try this out, like split test.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually.
Yeah, just we'll stand it up over there, turn this off. You'd have to create a whole new campaign because you can't have two URLs on different platforms in the same campaign. There's a little more work to that, but yeah. Just a thought.
It's funny. So this is totally random off topic, but what I was building this morning is something I'm going to split test a Google form versus this for something that's more a conversion strategy, at least for now for me. But that was the reason. And for whatever it's worth, I'm going to end with this and then some housekeeping items. I have a man crush on Alex Hormozy. I've said that openly, publicly in here many times. So this is not news to those of you who are regular attendees. And I don't remember if this was a video or one of his emails. He talked about the idea of split testing and improving conversion with split testing. And what he was sharing is relevant to anyone. One of the things he said that is one of the hardest things to test, but can have the biggest lift in many cases, is the actual platform that you're using. In other words, Calendly versus the Go High Level calendar. And I just gave another one, a Google form, which is free and easy to create, versus a conditional form built on Go High Level. When people talk about split testing, they often talk about like the headline or the subheadline or this, that, and the other thing. But you can get dramatic, in many cases, exponential lifts by testing the actual platform. The problem is it's painful and hard to do that. But if you play the long game and you're thinking long game, in some cases that it's worth that pain to either figure that out yourself or seek out the advice of someone who has figured it out and is deploying it. I bring up the Calendly thing because I feel like my Go High Level calendar doesn't work as well as Calendly once did for me. So it was cool and sexy to think, okay, I can save this money. It's essentially free or something I'm already paying for. But I don't know if it works as good as Calendly at actually getting people to schedule. Even though it looks the same and theoretically acts the same, like anecdotal evidence tells me that maybe it's not working quite as well.
Josh,
Yes.
you could hook it to your Zoom scheduler. You could get the Zoom scheduler and actually hook it up. So then that way it connects to your calendar as well.
That's a good shout. I don't know that I want to force everyone onto a Zoom, but that's also another way to use tech that you already have. That's a good shout. Thanks, Tamara. And Aaron, what would Go High Level replace from a resource perspective?
Everything.
Yeah, you can do. It almost is overwhelming everything that it can do, right? So you got to figure out like what.
But from this perspective, for this specific example, it's going to replace the landing page. So you're going to be able to host the page that the traffic's sent to on it.
Yep.
You could build the full follow-up sequence here instead of in a KV core.
Yep.
The forms that are in the page. You can even, I think, to some extent, track the Google ads. Can you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like you'll show the Google report in High Level at this point.
Yep. Yeah, you can integrate your Google ads in the reporting. Like you can see the performance. What Ryan was showing in the Google ads dashboard, you can have showing in your Go High Level dashboard.
Smarty needs to build these in as templates. That's the real answer here. These landing pages.
Yeah. Or I might. We'll see.
Can I say thanks to everybody? I'm late. I just realized I'm late for a 12 o'clock meeting.
Oh, good, because I'm going to wrap it up too. Ryan, thank you as always. The replay, I get them edited and published. You'll see it tomorrow morning on the Josh Shanley coaching page. You can check it out immediately afterwards in the Facebook Wake Up Real Estate group. I will also take the replay, get it in the school community with all of the additional resources that I mentioned, other sessions that Ryan and I have done over the years on Google pay-per-click. Some of like where he's hitting buttons might look a little different, but what I would, if you do want to do a deep dive, I would focus more on the principles and the frameworks and the strategies because he shared other examples of niches, right? We talked, about the downsizer friendly, but you'll see more examples of that. You'll see more evidence of it working, like other campaigns, etc. So you can check those out and do a deep dive. Unless I get a volunteer from someone in the group, there will not be a weekly mastermind next week. So I'll get with a few of my compadres to see if anybody wants to leave that. I'll be tied up doing something that you have to get when you get older. Just leave it at that. And it was the only day they could get me in. As much as I would much rather be here next Wednesday, I'll be recovering from some fun to make sure that I stay healthy and live
Sounds
long.
like one of those doctor's appointments where they put you out and they like to.
That's good enough, David.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good enough, buddy. That sums it up. But I'll just stay tuned for that. If we don't have a live session, I'll put together something cool. And then the following week, we'll definitely be back live on the 12th as well. Larry said you won't be sitting just relaxing. Yeah, exactly. Well played, Larry. Yeah, played. All right. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Thanks, everybody. If you need any help, let us know. Otherwise, make it a great rest of the week and hopefully chat soon.